Hello, hello, everyone. Good morning and happy May. Hope you're doing well. And today I'm really excited to bring to you this subtler, deeper dimension on mental health because yoga and Ayurveda, which I was really privileged to study for about 7 years of my life living in India, has so much to offer about this topic. And it is Mental Health Month. And I'm so glad there's this focus right now because we really all need it right now, right? Because we are living in times of major distress and we're all feeling it's a small world and we are feeling the stress, the sufferings of others, and we kind of interiorize it. So let me start right away without further ado. So, number one, it is I want to just address. I want to address the this whole 5 tips with a model of addressing the layers of yourself. And so, in yoga, we have this model of the human body, and it's not just one body that we have. We have 5 interwoven, overlaid layers of our being, which we call koshas. And let's see if I can find the graphic for that, so you can see this, right? So there are 5 layers of the self. And the very superficial, the densest layer is known as Annamaya Kosha, which is the physical body. And then two, the second subtlest is the Pranamaya Kosha. This is the body made of energy, right? Prana is life force. And then the third layer is Manomaya Kosha. This is your mental and emotional body, right? And then the Vijnana Maya Kosha. Vijnana in Sanskrit means wisdom. So out of all the experiences of life, we distill those experiences into wisdom. And so Vijnanamaya is the subtlest, the second to subtlest layer of our being. And then last, Anandamaya Kosha. At the very subtlest level of our being lives bliss. And if you don't believe it, it's this is my mission to really unleash the power of your true nature. So let's look at starting with the Annamaya Kosha, the physical body. Just hide that for a second. So number one thing to understand when it comes to mental health and yoga is that physiology is psychology, right? So when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling disempowered, like the environment, the news, the media is stronger than you. And it's easy to feel that way these days. So adopt, they say power pose, but yoga takes it much more than that. I know people like, Tony Robbins talks about this all the time, like change your physiology and, you get more confidence. And that is very true too. But, even more intricate than that, yoga has a whole canon of things. And here I want to just talk about yoga. When I talk about yoga, I don't mean just the physical poses and I'm so sick of people saying it. I'm not flexible, so I can't do yoga. I'm not 20 years old anymore and my joints are creaking, so I can't do yoga. That is totally a misconception of yoga, right? Yoga is a state of consciousness. And actually, the what I call yoga with a capital Y really talks much more about the mind, how to purify the mind, how to cleanse the mind, which includes both the subconscious and the conscious mind, so that the default is a positive state of being. Wouldn't that be great if the default state of being was a positive, energized state of being? And when we really do get into regular practice, this is absolutely possible. So, how do you optimize your physiology so that it helps our psychology? Well, yes, lifting your sternum really helps because the heart is where we create from. So giving this space, the heart space, a lot of space. This is what I call sometimes the confidence loop, where we take the shoulder blades up, back, and down. It starts from the confidence loop starts from the sternum and goes up. And just by drawing the shoulder blades down, it helps us breathe actually a lot easier because the lungs are open. And the heart is 5,000 times more electromagnetically more powerful than the brain. And so letting this shine is actually also very good for immunity because the thymus gland is right here, right? And then the second thing is to align. A lot of us hold our head like this, and we disconnect. Right here is a connection between the spine and the brain, and the central nervous system is really the leader of our entire physiology, right? So we want to optimize that by lengthening. Draw the jawline back and lengthen the nape of the neck. So we open up this connection. And even you can take your interlaced hands at the crown of the head, elbows in, and just take a moment to open the thalamic gate at the base of the skull. This is where the medulla oblongata is. This is where the cerebellum is. They all control things like your body temperature, your posture, right? And those kind of default settings of our physiology that we sometimes completely take for granted, right? So, and then the second thing is going subtler into the this model that I shared with you, the koshas. If you missed that, the second layer is prana maya kosha. Prana is life force, right? And so, of course, we have in yoga, we have this understanding that positive thoughts require a greater amount of energy, right? Greater amount of energy, and so it really that means it's higher frequency energy, and in order for us to easily naturally have positive thoughts, not forcefully have positive thoughts. Sometimes it feels like those affirmations, they don't work because we tend to, it just feels forced, right? But if we have naturally greater life energy in you, those positive thoughts come naturally, because why? You have set the inner environment for that. And as always, environment is much more powerful than willpower. So first thing you got to do is optimize your inner environment. And so, sorry, I forgot the caption here. So second thing is positive thoughts. Positive thoughts. Sorry, guys, I'm learning new technology here. Positive thoughts and emotions require more energy. So third thing, in order for us to be able to do this, is to harness the power of the breath. And it seems like, we all breathe, right, in order to stay alive. But because it's a constant in our lives, we tend to take the breath completely for granted. And most adults, I'm always shocked to see, even experienced yoga people, they have focused all of their yoga careers on getting the right alignment, the physical alignment, because it's the visible, obvious thing. But I always tell my serious yoga students, listen, breath is half of the asana. Breath is half of your posture. And so if you're not breathing properly in the asana, it is, you're missing half of the benefits. So a lot of us breathe with just the top part of your lungs, and you're so just doing shallow breathing. And so I want to teach you just a simple pranayama. And pranayama, it means prana, the word prana plus ayama, which means to expand. Ayama means to expand your capacity for. And yogis really actually count their lifespan by the number of breaths. So it really makes sense that by elongating and you're expanding your capacity to hold prana, that you can actually expand your lifespan. I mean, that is a profound thing here, right? I mean, wouldn't we all want 5 to 10 years more, added on to our lives? So if you're breathing shallowly, you are, depriving your systems of much needed energy. And then you're also depriving your mental system of the ability to think higher grade thoughts. So let me teach you a very simple breathing practice you can do. So take your thumbs into the center of the armpits, right? In the center of the armpit, this is the heart point. This is called, in Chinese medicine, this is the first heart point. And it's a wonderful way to stimulate and awaken the heart center. Now relax your shoulders and elbows are up. Imagine you can balance like a glass of water right here, or an espresso glass right here. And it's hot, so don't drop it, right? And then we take a normal inhale through the nose, and try opening your mouth with a silent ah like this. Hopefully nobody's standing in front of you if you have morning breath. But now we're going to try to inhale with a silent ah. Ah is a guttural sound which closes the glottis. So, and just by slightly closing off the glottis, you actually you are able to control the amount of life energy that is streaming through your windpipe into your lungs, and you can elongate your breath. Now, we close the mouth, but we still try to make the ah sound like this. So you can hear a little sibilant hissing sound of like a little sound of the ocean waves in the seashell, right? And you want to think of breathing, filling your lungs from the very bottom to the top. There are nerve receptors at the very base, like at the floating rib area, which, when activated, activates your parasympathetic nervous system. And a lot of us are living in chronic fight and flight mode, right? The sympathetic nervous system of, even though we're not chased by saber-toothed tigers and, we're not in the jungle and hunting anymore, we still have those ancient wirings, right? And so we're on adrenaline and we are like jittery, So to calm down and to really get into a calm but alert state of being, we got to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is absolutely a peak performance tip for you, because all peak performers, you need to be relaxed under pressure. No, not an easy thing to do, right? You got to be relaxed under pressure and be able to be high performance, but from a relaxed state of mind, to be able to think clearly, to be able to think on your feet. So let's try this together. And we're going to add counts. We're going to add inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 6 counts, and hold for 2 counts, right? 4, 4, 6, 2. Let's do it together just a couple of times, right? So inhale, normal breath, silent ah, and then exhale. Very good. Now close your mouth and inhale 4 counts. Doing great. Hold it there. Now, as you hold, close your eyes, gaze between your brows. 2, 3, 4. Now exhale 6 counts. 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it out. Try one more time. Inhale 4, 3, 4. Hold it 4 counts. 2, 3, 4. Exhale 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it out. 2. Good. So I would repeat this at least 5 times, right? And what this does is really activate your heart center. Open up your lungs so that you can breathe deeper. And over time, this will really expand your lung capacity. And I'm going to be live every Wednesdays and Fridays here on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. And whichever platform you like to hang out on, join me. I'm going to be live usually around 2 p.m. Eastern. Today was a little different, and I'm figuring out new technology, and I meant to go live at 2, but I just wanted to do it at the time that LinkedIn said it was happening. So I'll be unpacking this as we go. So number 1 is physiology is psychology, right? For mental health. Number 2, positive thoughts and emotions require more energy. And related to that, let me share with you a chart that I think you'll find very fascinating. This is the Hawkins chart of emotional frequencies. He did a wonderful experiment on measuring the human emotions, and I like how you can kind of see my hands here. So you can see that the enlightenment frequency is the highest, but the lowest frequency is shame, y'all. So shame is 20 hertz. And so we got to elevate ourselves out of, we got to up our self esteem. Really, that is the baseline. We have to really work on self-worth, because the universe only ever gives you what you think you deserve. And so shame is at the lowest rung, then guilt, then apathy. Guilt. I mean, I live in New York City, and I think guilt is like the default emotion of the city, and it's so unhealthy. We hold on to it, and it really prevents us from shining our light. So we got to heal these emotions. And again, in future lives, I'll be sharing with you how to do that much faster than even talk therapy. There's an energetic, somatic way of handling these negative emotions. So you can see, anger is higher up. Like when you're angry, you want to take action. So actually, anger has a higher frequency than, shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, right? And when we get to courage, is the baseline. Courage is that thing where ignite your journey to go higher in life, right? It is that fire that we all need to elevate ourselves. So cultivating courage is a wonderful thing on a regular basis. It took courage for me all to get on this platform today. I've never gone live on LinkedIn, and I've never used this platform, this technology before. So it took some courage, but it's just like feel it and take the action anyway, right? And then really, if you want, if you believe in the law of attraction, right? If you want to attract abundance into your life, you need to elevate your emotion to 500 hertz. That is the emotion of love. When you can experience, when you can see the spark, the light in others, when you know that at the deepest level, we are all connected, that interconnectedness, and you are embodying that state. You are putting that lens of oneness on. You are in the state of love. And this is what yoga is really about, right? It is about yoga means union, uniting, dissolving the subject object division. And so, cultivating compassion, love, forgiveness, these are all forms of love, right? So, and then we want to elevate ourselves even higher. So, I hope this, sharing this, and let me just share with you another really interesting, because a lot of you on LinkedIn, if you are on LinkedIn, are in organizations, you are in professional settings, and this emotional spectrum also applies to organizations as well, right? So at the lowest level, it's like survival. You got to survive, and we start to operate from a paradigm of lack. We start to feel like we need to elbow our way up, right? And then as we elevate, it's like that fourth rung of transformation. We want to get to that place of courage, of being willing to look at what's not working, what are the habits, what are the inner tendencies that we need to, the patterns that we need to dissolve so that we can go higher, right? So I'll dive into this deeper because this is deserves an entire live in itself. So I hope that's useful. And so number 3, as I covered, was the, really harness the power of the breath, right? Harness the power of the breath. And then number 4 is optimize your sleep routine. Are you guys sleeping okay these days? Because I know that every time you open the news, it's like something horrible is happening in the world, and and it's sometimes very close to home as well. I mean, there was a shooting in Brooklyn. I live in Manhattan, but and that's very, very disconcerting in your own city when things like that happen, and people are on edge. And so it's so important to actually have a sleep routine, a pre-sleep routine, and sit down and craft it. I love to use my iPhone really to remind myself. At 9 o'clock, my iPhone, alarm rings, and it says, time to prepare for bed. Time to close your devices. Time to, take that warm bath or shower. That really, actually, that's one tip that I really want to share with you, that throughout the day, especially right now, we are taking in all this negative energy from the media, and maybe social media, from commercials, from the news we watch, from other people who are living on edge. And it's important to kind of have a ritual to cleanse all that away. And I really feel that being under flowing water really, really helps. It is one form of bhuta shuddhi. In yoga, we have this purification kriya, purification ritual known as bhuta shuddhi. On the most basic level, taking a hot shower before bed, it's like washing your energy field. Because you can feel after a shower, it's not just your skin that the water cleanses, it's your whole energy field. And it's a wonderful practice to just go to bed having cleansed your aura, so that you can have positive thoughts throughout. Even the subconscious can feel, it's like, okay, the day's done, and we wash that away. So include a hot shower or bath in your night ritual. This will help you sleep better. And then when you're lying in bed, really practice conscious relaxation. Yes, conscious relaxation. Ayurvedically speaking, sleep is one of the 3 pillars of longevity and health. And so optimizing your sleep is very, very important. Put something, that blocks out all the light, right? Like an eye cover, not too tight, but just so it covers your eyes. And if you sleep in a noisy area, then just maybe wear earplugs. Silence and darkness. Really, we want the tamas, the darkness, to help you get into that sleep mode. And doesn't have to be the 4 4 6 2 breath that I just showed you, but a conscious relaxation breath. Imagine 1,000 tiny angelic hands massaging the soles of your feet. And actually, if you tend to really have insomnia, then you can put warm sesame oil and massage it on the bottoms of your feet, and maybe wear a sock if you don't want to get that on your sheets and everything. But that is a wonderful Ayurvedic tip as well. Hot glass of almond or real milk with some nutmeg. Nutmeg is a sedative that's very, very helpful for inducing that calcium in the milk really helps. Almond milk can also help as well. So try those things for optimizing your sleep routine, right? Craft it. And just like you have a morning routine, take your night routine seriously as well, because the quality of your sleep dictates how your next day goes, right? So let's really make a conscious decision to remove all those devices, right? The blue light devices from your bedroom so you can sleep in a vibrationally clean environment. Okay, so going on to last tip here is to protect your digestive fire. Now, here, the science of Ayurveda. Now, I was really privileged to live about 7 years of my life in India studying Ayurvedic medicine at an Ayurvedic university. And I have a doctor's degree in the science of Ayurvedic medicine. And it is absolutely important because digestion and your emotional health are very, very related. The first thing that suffers when you get stressed emotionally or mentally is your digestion. So, number one tip is never eat when you are emotional. A lot of us use food as emotional medication, but that's a mistake because if you do that, that food does not get processed properly and it turns into undigested food mass, which we call ama. And it becomes a sticky mass that starts to clog your microchannels. And this is the beginning of diseases, chronic diseases like obesity, like arthritis, like atherosclerosis. So many of the chronic diseases in the West is due to clogged channels, micro channels, whether they're blood vessels or they're just, lymphatic vessels. There's so many micro channels in this body, and we need the pipes clear so that we have an efficient machine here. So optimizing your digestion. How do we do that? First, honor your hunger. Honor your hunger. And I talked about this in a metaphorical sense as well as a physiological sense. So it's good for you to feel hungry. Distinguish between emotional hunger and distinguish between emotional hunger, the clock hunger, when the clock strikes 12 o'clock or 1 p.m. Sometimes you just think, oh, I should eat because it's lunchtime. But maybe your, digestion is not really ready to receive a full meal. So tune in and really feel, am I hungry? And to really feel what hunger is, fasting half a day or full day is really, really, then you really learn what hunger is. And when you feel hungry, you sit down. Don't sit in front of your desk and eat. Sit, in a clean place. Honor the process of eating, because eating is a process of taking your environment and assimilating and making a part of you. And it's a sacred process. And a lot of us are wolfing down the food, and then the digestion has to really labor hard because you're not chewing properly. Right? Digestion starts right in your mouth, the amylase and the enzymes here. You have to, drink your solids and chew your liquids, as they say, right? And so this is very, very, the Holocaust victims, they had no food, but people who actually drank their saliva, they survive where others died of starvation. So saliva has actually a lot of life energy in it. And so that's one thing. Sip hot water with each of your meals. Don't, hot water, you cannot guzzle it down, right? And this is a great weight loss tip, though. If you're looking to lose weight, if you're looking to optimize your metabolism, drink that hot water, sip that hot water all day long. No more ice cold drinks. Ice cold drink is the enemy of your gastric fire. And let me share with you another graphic that that just shows you what Agni, what we call the gastric fire, does. Right? Agni is it. So you can see it is not just about digestion. It's about also digesting emotions. Right? So Agni gives rise to joy, cheerfulness, laughter, contentment, affection, enthusiasm, all these positive, right? Confidence, courage, what we talked about in that emotional scale. And then, of course, being able to assimilate what you eat, what you're ingesting through your senses, through your intellect, taking information and digesting it into understanding and then wisdom. That is also the function of Agni. So discrimination, being able to make right judgment, right decisions. Your Agni's got to be strong for that. So honor your fire. You are all fire keepers, right? This is your soul needs to be lit on fire. This is your passion. This is where your motivation comes from. And this is where strong digestion can come from. And each person has, a different digestive tendency depending on your Ayurvedic constitutional type. And for this, I have a little test. I have a little assessment you can take. This is called the Dosha Quiz. And you can go to visionaryyoga.com/Dosha Quiz. And if you take that, it'll take you through a series of questions. And at the end, you will know what is your type. Are you a fire type, pitta type? And then what foods should you favor? What your daily routine should be? It'll give you guidelines, this quiz. So let me see if we can put it in the chat right here. That's visionaryyoga.com/Dosha Quiz. And it's very important. It's part of self-knowledge, right? I mean, all this is self-awareness stuff, right? And it's so important for us to know what a metabolic type is. So if you are a kapha person, for example, in New York, it's raining today and, it's May and it's not very good to eat something like yogurt for breakfast because it is similar to what you already have, predominantly earth and water. It will create a lot of mucus for you if you eat yogurt on a day like this. So just knowing these kinds of things, right, is so helpful in knowing what's going to congest you, what's going to energize you, what's going to optimize your digestion for you, right? So this is so important. And so take that dosha quiz. And as I bring this to a close, if I know a lot of you are having some just anxiety. It's very normal. The healthiest of us are experiencing this, and I truly want to support you and make some recommendations. I've been doing this for 3 decades of my life, and so I know a little bit about how to you don't have to be flexible. You don't have to be a yogi. You don't have to even own a yoga mat to practice the yoga, with a capital Y, of personal development, of optimizing your physiology and your psychology during this very critical time in our human history. And so if you'd like to schedule a free session, I've got this is called just visionarysession.com. I'm leaving for Mexico at the end of the week. And so don't schedule anything on Saturday because that's when my flight is. But other than that, whatever open slots, I'll be really happy to talk to you. I show up like I do for my paid clients, 100%, and no strings attached. And I would love to know, how I can support you. So, and for those of you on Instagram, it's in my bio there, visionarysession.com. So this is the month of mental health. Let us all really become self-aware, right? Self-aware of where we're at. And I want to close with this beautiful quote from the Bible of yoga, known as the Bhagavad Gita. And it says, it's a stanza, chapter 6, stanza 5. A human must elevate himself or herself by his or her own mind, not degrade himself or herself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. And so the mind can be our greatest asset. It can be our greatest creator. We create reality with our mind. That is a huge thing. It creates our lived experience on this planet as humans. And so we must, when we have the blessings of our own mind, we can do anything on this planet, right? We can make our big visions realized. And for that, though, we do need a healthy body and a mind. These are instruments we've got to optimize. So let's get inspired to take better care of ourselves. And I hope this was helpful. And reach out to me on DM, whichever platform you hang out on. I'm on. You can connect with me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook as Visionary Yoga. And it's been my honor, and I hope this was supportive for you. And I'll see you again on Friday, and I'll go deep dive into mental health, another aspect of mental health. So till then, see you soon. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Lots of love.